power of this technology goes so far beyond what like the typical like table conversation about VR gives it credit for. You know, like we talk about it as like a useful tool or an immersive, fun experience, but what we're talking about is like truly transformational.
It should be perfectly possible to trick your brain into any experience if your brain can already do that itself naturally. So VR is almost like taking that ability for our brain to generate any experience for us and like putting it in our hands, which is wild.
Man, that's something in the history books. People are going to look back and be like, yeah, 2022, 2023. That's when education, after hundreds of years, finally upgraded.
We're in a strange time where our physical worlds are intersecting with our digital identities, and right now is a time to kind of determine what you want that to be.
Once you have full body tracking that works well and it's frictionless, right? Meaning it's easy to do.
Yes.
It's a whole new. It's not a game changer, it's a whole new game.
So maybe there will be some other people who would be curious to see what I'm learning, what I'm discovering, so to say. And that's how the Discover YouTube channel started.
Oh, not really disco VR, Discover.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad when people ask me about VR, or they're like, what do you do? Like, all right. You asked.
Yes,
here it comes.
I love VR, but I love going out and breathing fresh air. And not only was I stuck in VR for 10 days, I was stuck in one room because I was streaming, the same space. I didn't see the sunlight. I totally lost track of what time everything was.
She dances with the robot. She does the first steps. She dances with that robot. She takes that thing off her fist. I have the video. I'm holding it hostage. She takes it off her head and she says, I gotta have it.
There are a few moments in my life I can remember very vividly. The day I got married, the day my kids were born, the day Facebook announced that they bought Oculus is one of those days. I was making chili.
I've been in a lot of gaming communities, and the VR community is by far the best community that I've ever been involved with.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the VR podcast called Between Realities. Wow. Woo! Ran the audible play there. Good to see you guys. My name is Alex. I am one half of the Between Realities crew. The other half of the Between Realities crew is sitting right beside me in the very same room.
Heck yeah. Same room. For real. We're like actually here.
We're real friends. We're real people.
Yep.
And it's Skiva.
We're not remote.
You're Skiva, aren't you?
I am. That's what people call me.
The Skiva. With like 12,000 followers on Twitter /X.
Ooh. That no one's on anymore. I picked the right platform, I guess.
And I literally just bought a check mark. Like everyone's dipping, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time. Maybe I'll buy a check.
It's still my favorite. It's still by far, like, I think the most powerful platform. I think it's just misunderstood.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff surrounding that.
Yeah, there is.
Unfortunately, but
I always err on the side of controversy, though.
Well, and frankly, like it's not as good for everybody else as it is for the VR community.
Yeah, that's true. Like they have to put up with a lot of crap. We don't see any of that garbage.
We have a pretty good little bubble of safety there. At least for me. I mean, my feed's pretty curated. I don't follow celebrities or
same. Me neither.
Normal
VR people. Only.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
And AI. I do follow AI stuff too.
That's very good. That's because that's very relevant to what we do.
Yeah. Phil to Render joining the Between Realities crew.
Hey.
Heck yeah, becoming a member. Thanks, dude.
To Render Comedy Club.
Thanks, man.
We recently did an interview with them that is getting turned into some kind of
he must be
slapstick thing.
He must be trying to kiss up since he knows he's about to jab into us with this content that's about to happen.
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm more ready for whatever happens there than you are.
Yeah, probably. I'm not going to disagree with you there.
It's been an insane week, bro.
Dude,
Insane
I might
week.
fall asleep on my microphone.
I know, man. It has been an insane week. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about Flat to VR Studios. Trombone Champ Unflattened is out in the wild. This sound effects lifted straight from the Between Realities podcast straight into Trombone Champ Unflattened. There's air horns galore in that game. And, I am really, really stoked and grateful to the VR community for the way it's been received so far. The reviews are stellar. Everybody really seems to be enjoying it. And so far, nobody has done what it takes to beat any of my high scores for reals. So,
are you still on the leaderboard, in the top of the leaderboards?
For every song.
For every song?
Yep.
Stop it.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yep. I thought you were going to be dethroned pretty fast.
Nope.
Wow.
One person beat one of my scores, and then I went in, beat it, took a picture and sent it to them. I was like, okay, try again.
Oh man. So if you guys want a challenge and you want to dethrone Alex, you do that.
Good luck.
Dethrone Alex and then come over and take a screenshot and I will put it up here on the podcast.
Good luck. So will I. Yeah.
Yeah, but Alex has to not be able to beat it right afterwards.
Oh yeah, I've got more in the tank for multiple of my scores out there.
Amelia Faust, I only have the flat version. Well, thanks for your support, Amelia.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That is hilarious.
Jeez.
That is
tough critics.
Super hilarious. So it's been a pretty crazy week, to say the least. Like, I was going to be like, Skiva, how's your week been? But like, I already know the answer to that question. It's been super, super crazy.
Oh,
I am legitimately busier than I have ever been in my entire life. I have never had so many balls in the air at once. Like, I didn't even know I knew how to juggle. And now I'm like, oh, and I'm just going, baby. So things are a little insane, like I'm not used to this lifestyle, but I'm hanging on for dear life. Got VR awards next week, which I'm still preparing for.
Yeah,
I'm like writing my monologue or whatever. And
wow, we hop on a plane in a couple days.
Literally, bro. And then we're on a cruise ship in Rotterdam.
Can I just tell you, I don't know if you feel the same, but like, we've traveled a lot internationally over the past couple of years, and man, being on a flight for like 14 hours or multiple flights, like a 5-hour flight, a 10-hour flight, it is brutal. It is brutal. Like, my butt hurts so bad. I'm bored out of my mind. Yeah. Like, oh God, I don't know how much more of that I can do. But when you get to Europe, almost anywhere in Europe, it's phenomenal. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But man, it's hard to get there, and the jet lag, and oh God, it's getting tough.
It is, man. I'm like seriously considering trying to capitalize on that plane time, because I and you also have been a part of the South by Southwest advisory board for the past couple of years, and
which I never got a thing for. I didn't even know that they sent out the stuff.
Oh, ouch. Well, I got back. Oh, I didn't either, but I reached out. I was like, hey, I'm getting back into this, so send me the thing.
I reached out today because I was like, where are you guys?
Well, it's due in like a week, bro.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, the only time I see my chance of doing that is on the plane.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm gonna have to sit there and jam out like 100 of those right in a row. Like, this advice, listen, don't worry about it, people. Okay, just know it's a thing that I have to
buy the ticket. It's easier.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not. It's not.
It's pretty
not
expensive.
buying that ticket. But anyway, yeah, we're crazy busy. Lots going on. Trombone Champ's happening. VR awards are happening next week. And I'm stoked. I'm busy. I'm tired, but I'm really stoked. Things are really good, and we've seen bleaker days in the VR space. There's a lot to be excited about right now.
True that.
All right, listen, we have a guest, and before we introduce them, I want to quickly say hello to our amazing audience who's here tuned in live on YouTube on November 27th, 2024. Or is it 27th? Yeah, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, y'all. Whew. I'm like probably going to try to get work done on Thanksgiving, to be honest, man.
Oh, man, I know. It's brutal.
It is brutal.
It is brutal. We are giving every ounce of our lives to this industry, man. Really, we just want it to succeed. I want more Quests and more VR headsets and like in-houses than PlayStations and Xboxes. And either that's going to happen and I'm going to be able to breathe, or I'm going to die trying.
Does your chat go all the way up? How far up does yours go?
I don't think it does. That doesn't go very far.
No, it doesn't.
No.
All right, well, I'm going to have to start with Mepper. Hey, Mepper, how's it going, yo?
What's up, Mepper?
Saw Mepper in banter during the viewing party of the XR update that did Trombone Champ. Mepper was in there in VR. I'd like never seen Mepper. Like I saw a virtual representation of Mepper, and it was so cool. I like got to meet Mepper, kind of. I don't. That's
Dude,
like a philosophical question in itself.
I know. Did we meet? Mepper, or did we not? I don't know, but I was super stoked to see him at that launch party.
Same.
In banter. That was really cool.
Same. Techno Glitch is here. Yo, Techno Glitch. Good to see you. Brandon VR in the house. I saw your review for Trombone Champ. Thanks for doing that, man. Red/Ace is here as well. Hello, dude. Good to see you. Beat Saber Rita in the house.
Hey.
Did a really good little review of some Kiwi products today. Red/Ace. Hey, dude. Saw you already. Inferno 9. Yo, what's up, Inferno 9? Been playing so much Trombone Champ, dude.
Nice.
I can
music
relate.
to my ears.
I can relate. Ashley Huffman's here. Let's go.
Hey, what's up?
Haptics Queen.
Heck yeah.
If you want to know more about haptics, just type in Ashley Huffman in your search bar, and the rest will just unfold in front of you.
The legend.
Mr. Boney in VR. Yo, it's been a minute since I've seen Mr. Boney. Good to see you.
I know. How's it going, dude?
Yeah, Stratus is here from Rough Talk VR.
Hey,
Our
what's
guest
up,
from
dude?
last week.
Yeah.
That was really great to sit down and chat with those guys for a while.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yep, we knew it would be. That was like one of the easiest conversations ever. Amelia Faust is here. Hey, Amelia. Good to see you as well. Amelia, always a strong supporter here of both of our communities, Rough Talk and Between Realities. Arlen said, bum you missed the Rough Talk boys. Well, I'm sorry you missed that one, but today's going to be good too, so I'm glad to have you. Hussein X, hello. Always here as well. You just can't find better supporters, It's kind of crazy. Mr. Tasselhoff is here, the peripheral master, always creating fun peripherals for VR games. Life Capture in the house. Good evening. Hey, Life Capture. Good to see you. Chroma Snare in the house as well. Always here. Man, it's just so insane how consistent the live chat names are, even after changing the date and time of the show.
I know, right?
Really appreciate you guys coming out.
What great people.
Yeah,
we
for
love
real.
you guys.
Denton's here. Hey, Denton. Thanks for being a part of it. Samson143 VR, the dude. Great to see Samson.
Love Samson.
Yeah, dude. I want to talk to Samson.
I know. As soon as I'm gonna try to get to PAX East this year. And I know Samson's in Massachusetts, so hopefully we'll get to meet up. That'd be sick.
That would be sick. Thank you guys all for tuning in today. I think it's probably time we introduce today's guest.
Yeah. Guest. Sweet.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is a kind of like a little bit of a full circle moment for me. Like my very first VR event ever. I met today's guest, and it has been like
VRLA?
At VRLA in 2018, nice. And it has been a wild ride ever since then. And this is like our first opportunity to really reconnect since then. This dude has been in the video game space for 20 years and has worked on some massive titles.
Yeah.
Right? Like
big names.
Like
big names.
Grand Theft Auto and the Telltale Walking Dead games and I mean Dark Souls, and just like has had opportunities to make contributions in so many impactful places in the gaming space, and has for the past 6, 7, 8, probably more years been heavily involved in the VR space, and has now made Starwave, which is kind of like a Beat Saber style rhythm game, but super celestial and kind of has this emphasis on flow state. So anyway, like I'll let him tell you guys. Please help me welcome to Between Realities, Mr. Job Stauffer. Job, hello, dude. Great to see you again.
Hello. Hi.
What's up, man?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me on. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You sound good.
Awesome. Hey, it's working. Pleasure to be here. I know this is a busy week, and especially with you guys and tromboning across the universe this week for y'all. It just it means a lot that you've had me on, and us here collectively, Starwave wise, and Alex, you were just saying it is full circle, man. Because I was gonna say that I told this to Skiva the other day. Like I met Alex like 7, 8 years ago at VRLA. And that guy was like fresh off the bus from a cornfield, and I don't know where. I just remember the smile on your face walking into that LA Convention Center. You were like, "VR's amazing. I love this stuff. I'm going to put my whole life behind it, and this is where my life is. I'm going to dedicate myself. And not for a single second, Alex, not for a minute did I doubt you. And I'm just like, that guy.
You did it.
Has the fire in him.
Yep.
And look at him now. So I tip my hat to you and my visor to you in just amazing work so far. And thank you for having me. So it's cool to full circle this.
Job, it really means a lot for you to say that, man. Like, it has been such a super fun and wild ride, and I really do think back to that event as where all of this has started. I mean, I was doing VR stuff already, you know, but you know, I've told the story before, but Pixel Ripped, or Arvery Immersive Experiences, who made Pixel Ripped, they made a Reddit post on Reddit, you know, Reddit, the Reddit, and they were like, hey everybody, we're Arvery, we're from Brazil, and we have a VR game, and we want to show it off at VRLA. Problem is, we don't have hands. So is anybody out there in Reddit land want to come to VRLA and help us do this thing? And I was like, what? And I saw that post and I was like, yeah, I'm good. That's me. And I hit them up and they were like, all right, come on out. And I did. And there was 3 other guys who responded and that they selected, and one of them was Mr. Job Stauffer. And we met, we hung out, we romped around in LA, and he told me all about his insane career in the video games space. Like, dude, I definitely want to dive into your career and learn a little bit about where you've come from and how you've landed where you are now, like introducing Starwave to the world. For the record, not the only VR game that you've helped introduce to the world. You were a huge part of Supernatural and other VR experiences. We're going to get to all of that.
Yeah, but and I had talked to Job on a video call, and I go to Alex after. I'm like, hey, I met this cool guy. He'd probably be a great guest on the show. Alex is like, oh, I know Job. We go way back.
It was really cool.
Nice.
So,
absolutely surreal. So, yeah.
This is super surreal. Now, listen, I want to, like, before we dive into this, I kind of have like a little special thing that I want to do quickly. I got some DMs before the show from Mr. Tass, who's in the chat, and he was like, hey, dude, go check your mail. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, go check your mail. You just got something. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, yeah, it's like pretty sweet. You might want to like film yourself opening it or something. I was like, dang. Like, okay.
Is it ticking?
It's not ticking. You know, he works with us. He works with us at Impact Reality, so you know I have to imagine that this has something to do with a VR game or something like that.
I hope whatever's in there isn't green.
I know,
it's gonna be invisible.
I thought I should open the box like right here on the show. You know what I mean? So we can just like take a quick look at it and like see what's going on here.
Oh, there is a little bit of green.
So
color.
I want to open this and.
All right, cool.
Okay, this is pretty sweet. Oh, it's Squingle.
Oh, sick.
Nice.
Oh, sweet.
This is a Squingle hat.
Nice. That's pretty
jealous.
sick.
Can I just say I'm a huge fan of Squingle. I've been
is
the OG, the original version, and I just talked to my 74-year-old mom yesterday and sold her on Squingle, and now she loves it.
Yo, it's so much fun.
No way. 74. She loves Squingle.
Awesome.
I got her a Quest Pro last year, and I'm like, Mom, you're gonna really like this thing.
Nice.
Just kind of revamp.
Dude, is it Christmas?
I guess.
I thought it was Thanksgiving. Look at this. This legitimately looks like a gift.
That's pretty awesome. Wow, what a presentation there.
Beautifully packaged.
Taz, did you package and wrap all these?
He mentioned that Katya had a vision. So it wouldn't surprise me if this was a little bit of Katya right here. Dude, it literally feels like it's my birthday right now. I'm like opening a birthday present. This is so good. And thank you guys for all joining this. Shout out to the audio listeners. Oh, jeez. Dude. Come on, man. All right.
Whoa, dude. Whoa,
this is a jar. And it says "Light Me Up."
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
It's like a jar of the jelly. There's a bunch
Squingle
of
jelly.
There's like lights in it, and like a.
The 2 little balls are in there that you have to get through.
Dude,
the stuff.
This is gorgeous.
Wow.
Oh, and it opens actually.
Are you supposed to?
Is it?
Holy shit!
Don't open it. It
Dude,
smells really good.
It's actually filled with jelly. Like,
yeah.
There's a bunch of goo in there, and inside of there's a USB stick. Like,
oh God, you gotta get everything out of there. There's all kinds of stuff
There's
in there.
items in the balls. You literally have to dig through this goo to get all these items out.
Oh wow,
This is crazy.
that is a cool merch kit,
This
man.
is really cool.
Wow,
dude. Okay,
that's wild.
Shout out
I love it.
Squingle. Thank you guys for sending this. That's beautiful.
Very cool.
Squingle, thank you for entertaining my mom in Florida. Hi, Mom.
What a cool game. I love Squingle. I had no idea what it was about, and I hopped into it and I was like, what? I was like 2 hours later, I'm like, what? Well, how much time has gone by? It's a great game. Very good.
I'm gonna wear the hat.
Nice.
I think I don't know if I've ever
It's all embroidered.
worn a hat
Very nice.
on this show before.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't wear tons of hats.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, that's hilarious. I'm surprised you don't wear a hat in your headshot, bro.
I mean, I do. Well,
no.
Oh
no.
Yeah, I guess I'm
All right, listen. So thank you, Job, for hanging out with us while we opened this box. I thought that needed to happen.
I'm gonna open my Squingle box next.
Oh, Taz in the chat.
Yep. Shout out Taz. You and Katya did a great job on this, and this is going on my VR items shelf. I have a really.
Are you gonna pull everything out of it though?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's up,
I've
Joe?
seen a lot of tchotchkes and like marketing promos in my day over the last 20 years, and that is definitely one of the coolest. Like just flashy, really like on brand, super cool. Yeah. I remember. Just all the way back, like just jumping like 20 years ago, one of the craziest things I'd ever seen sent out at Rockstar was during GTA 4 promo time. We literally sent like hollowed out hand grenades in the mail to the press.
Yes.
Like, so like it was all like it was super sus, and it was, but they weren't live, they weren't active, but they went out in the mail, and like Kotaku posted them all and all that, but like. It was super sketch, and like I have to this day, I will still get like 20 years later, random people hitting me up on LinkedIn or my personal email, like, yo, you used to work for Rockstar? You have any more of them grenades? Like, I'll pay you. Like people pay like thousands of dollars for old like Rockstar tchotchkes of anything, really, Dark Souls, anything like that, and there's a network of really hardcore fans from all the way back to the heyday that like seems to really want to like track down anyone who ever touched any of this stuff in a studio or a publishing office. And I've seen insane hand grenades and like pocket knives and all this stuff that you just wouldn't even think of sending today on some crazy stuff. But like for Squingle, that's super rad and super safe. And
this is
and
beautiful.
I'm jelly of your jelly.
This is really beautiful. And honestly, like so many companies keep stepping up their game, and I frankly am so I guess stoked that a lot of times I receive stuff like this. Like I don't get everything, but frankly I don't have like the widest reach, so that doesn't surprise me, but all this to say that I love stuff like this. Like I am still such a huge fan of games that like anytime I get one of these items that I know like only a handful of people got, I love, like I'm gonna be buried with all of my promotional merchandise from the games over the years. Like I'm gonna have like my moss quill with me, like holding it with like my Cosmonius High plush, And
are you gonna be buried in your Beat Saber sweater?
Yes, which I'm going to start wearing. December is Beat Saber sweaters.
It's funny you say that, because just this past week we've had a Starwave player, Neil Barrage, Besmondo is his username. This guy out of the UK is like 6'8" or something. He's a huge, awesome, sweetest dude in the world. But since day one, when we launched in early September, he's been the top of our leaderboards almost nonstop.
Wow.
And like literally 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours a day, just blazing through all the levels and just all the way to the top. And we did the math on like what people would do, because we track your scores all the Supernatural, like we did that. When I was working Supernatural during COVID, like stuck inside a garage for months on end, I wasn't asked to do this, but just because I was doing it and working on it, and like, well, this will be healthy. I'm gonna be the first person to get 1 million points in Supernatural. Like I did that, and it took months, right? And I ended up I had to do the math to figure it out. I'm like, wow, this is gonna take a long time, but I could do it. And eventually, more people are gonna do it because it's just a matter of time. But we did the math on Starwave, and you can get to 1 million points in like a day or a week, or about a week. It's casual use. So we figured our sort of 1 million point equivalent is actually 100 million, and it would take about 6 months or more for an average person who's like really kind of regularly dedicated to it. This guy just did it in like less than 3.
Wow.
And so we made him a custom limited edition Starwave T-shirt that like we're getting printed up and mailed over with a bunch of chapskeys and like stickers and stuff like that. So like I always liked the like, okay, you can get swag, but swag stands for stuff we all get. Like I like stuff that not everyone gets. Amen. And it's like you got to earn this stuff. So if you stickers on a VR budget, a little easier to produce, but T-shirts, you got to show me a little energy put in. And props to Neil Besmondo if you're watching. Just congrats again, good work, man.
Well, and I'm sure Neil will love that. Like he's gonna be like, yes, I did it. I earned the exclusive shirt. I'm waiting for my exclusive trombone shirt in the mail right now. Actually, if anybody from Impact Reality is listening,
I don't know anyone from that company.
Get me an exclusive shirt, all right?
I was thinking today, like, wow, we're going on a podcast for the first time after the launch of this game, and we don't have trombone champ shirts.
That's
like,
messed up.
I know.
That is messed up.
That's it.
Yep.
Everyone's in trouble.
Yeah, it's dude, like it's so crazy. You're just like you casually drop a name like Supernatural, like yeah. So when I was doing Supernatural, like it's so interesting about Supernatural because when that game was being announced, it was like a pretty I know, right? When that game was being announced, it was a pretty like controversial kind of thing. It was like showing up on the scene and they're like, we're gonna do a subscription model, and everyone's like, what? Like I don't get to own it, I have to pay monthly? Like what is that? And I feel like there was a big old stir and like that sparked so many conversations, and I think a lot of people were really skeptical about whether or not it was going to succeed. And I don't think there's any questions about whether or not Supernatural was a success. It's been amazing to watch this game grow over the years.
Well, I think it was, like there was definitely an element to that of couldn't have planned for it timing, and that was bar none the pandemic, because there was a long preamble of tens of millions of dollars poured into getting that thing done for years, and just to launch it. I came in just before launch to really help the founders like fine tune it, like narrow down these coaches down to a couple 3 and do these and those trails that are going from balloon to balloon. We got to like make those vibrate and stuff like that. There's like sort of finishing production touches to launch it off. But like that is, that doesn't, what really gave it like the fuel to the jet fuel to the whole experience was the sheer stroke of luck that the entire world is closed at launch week and no one can go to a gym anymore, and everyone in the world is forced to stay inside and maybe think about putting on a VR headset and maybe burning a few calories doing it. And that absolute stroke of sheer luck of the worst luck in the world for the world just worked out perfectly for that, and the timing could not have been better. And that thinking, initially that like, oh, this game needs a subscription was very deeply embedded in that team's ethos from way before even marketing it. Was, VR. We think about VR and it's easy to think about it as a game system, and we do games in here and it's games and this is a fitness game. But really, like the goal for that was, how do you make the Peloton equivalent in the immersive experience, and something that is subscription, something where it is content every day, and you do have leaderboards and model this whole thing sort of after Strava. So it was always a different mindset, and it definitely paid off. So and it continues to grow, and it's now part of Meta, and it's just amazing to be a part of that and kickstart its community, and it was a really healthy thing to sort of fall into as well. Just like, this isn't bad, let's hop in and let's do some VR and let's connect with people.
For real. And if anybody remembers, there was an Upload VR article that went out a couple years ago about a guy who lost 50 pounds playing a virtual reality game, and it kind of blew up. And it was kind of a story for a minute there. And that guy was you, Job. Like,
it was me.
You lost 50 pounds playing VR.
It was actually closer to 100 by the time that piece had sort of come and gone. But I was working at Telltale at the time, and the longest story short was doing that for like 5 or 6 years. We did a lot of games. We did a lot of projects. Game of Thrones, Batman, Minecraft, Walking Dead, Borderlands, like everything was just like exponential Telltale. Right of my life. But like at the same time, very stressful. And I certainly ate a lot of stress, and especially going a lot of press trips and hopping on planes to Europe and Germany and eating everything in sight on a corporate car. Like, I got so much work. But like, I'm definitely one of those people. But I'm also, I'm also was always really interested in VR. And there was a time when Palmer, before Oculus was sold to Meta, there was a time where Palmer, Luckey, and Nate Mitchell literally came to the Telltale office in San Rafael, dropped the dev kit on my desk, and had the whole team around us just saying, like, so what do you guys think? Like, what can you do in VR? Because they really wanted Telltale to get involved. And there was like this arms race at the time of all the game developers who could be the Telltale of VR, because a big staple of the Telltale experience was short and consumable experiences, episodic. So you could have play episode 1, and then it's all in one sitting, and then come in the next day, talk about it at the water cooler with your friends, your coworkers, and then play the next episode and the next episode. That was sort of like the consumable bite-size target for a lot of developers thinking in VR at the time before Sixtoff. So these dev kits come our way. We're thinking about it. I'm super, super into the idea. I'm blown away. I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, guys, I don't know if I can ever go back. This is amazing. And then at the same time, Telltale super, super in with Valve, because Telltale was one of the first 3 publishers on Steam ever. That's where like Poker Night at the Inventory came out, and like Telltale Texas Hold'em long before even Sam & Max and Bone. So we got early access to, Vive kits and Sixtoff, like way early on. So like here I was basically running the Telltale Skunkworks R&D VR team, literally in an old postal room in the basement, setting up lighthouses and putting lighthouses at home and trying out all this stuff and just really thinking about how to crack the code of Telltale in VR. And simultaneously, I had a friend named Eric who was working at Reddit. He was working at Twitter, and he was trying to build a VR Reddit browser. And in doing so, he realized that he could plot a point in space, and then he could actually do that while watching YouTube on a VR browser. And then he thought, well, what if I plot points in space in a path and I do punch workouts to YouTube? And he built this whole game experience in WebXR called Soundboxing. And I got a hold of it, and it got a hold of me. And that was 2016. And I was just like in my house and at the office, and I just got really hooked on it. And I just started talking to Eric, and I'm like punching this thing, and like, wow, this is cool. Like, people just upload their own patterns, and you don't gotta buy DLC. It's all stuff that's on YouTube. Really kind of a smart idea. And I'm doing this every week, and I'm sweating into my Vive. I'm like, oh man, Valve is gonna be pissed. Like, I gotta like start lining this thing. Week goes by, next week goes by, and like all this stress weight I'd put on over Telltale just started like melting off. And I'm like, I'd come into the office, and they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, VR stuff. And they're like, what?
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I know, it's weird, right? And then I'd have to explain it every time to the Telltale office. And at a certain point, like, I'd just come in and would be sitting down doing like, creative playthroughs of like, the next Batman or whatever else. And like, I just look like a different person. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna post a picture. And I posted a picture, and like just being, connected to games industry folks caught on, like Upload caught it. And then the next thing I know, like they run their like end of year, like story roundup of like top stories of the year. 1, Palmer Luckey leaves Oculus. 2, that guy from Telltale lost a ton of weight playing VR. And it was like this eureka moment that no one had ever really put together. It's like, no, really, when you're up and moving and you're embodied and you're fighting with swords and you're ducking and shooting, you're physically embodied, and there's no reason why this isn't now combining the worlds of gaming and exercise into one thing. And that was really it for me, was that tipping point where I was like, all right, I've done over a decade of this. I've done Grand Theft Auto, I've done Dark Souls, I've done all these insanely cool projects. The future is on my face. And, we've literally at that threshold between realities of like, okay, yes. I'm crossing over, y'all. Like, I don't know if I can keep doing this flat stuff. There's something here that has a positive, genuinely human beneficial, just net positive worth to humanity in immersive entertainment, whether it's a fitness game or an action game or whatever. VR has a whole other level of power and potential, and that's really when I knew. It was 2016, and that story ran, and then from 2017-18, I was kind of like really checking out of Telltale and like kind of looking to see what I could do until I, crossed that threshold out and started working in VR stuff and VR fitness and pretty much anything I could really put my skills to, sort of being in blockbuster gaming, to this niche, this like primordial ooze of the VR industry, and how do we infuse it with this energy, and how do we create new ideas, and how do we help humanity with entertainment? Was like, I can't go back to hopping in, Nico Bellic's car and shooting rockets at a bus full of nuns in GTA. Like, I really want to help make the future, so that story was definitely a pivot point for me in between those two realities, I would say.
That's beautiful. That's almost like the Mr. Rogers philosophy, but in virtual reality. Like he saw that technology and he's like, no, like we can really change the world with this. Like we can connect with young ones and teach them like how to be better humans by using this technology, and like now there's the capabilities of VR as like an empathy machine, to like shout out Miles Dyer, is like amazing, like so much more profound than what TV can do. So the fact that there are people like you, and you're not the only one, there are a lot of people out there who understand this, the social good that this technology truly is capable of, and the fact that we're like all like kind of sitting here watching the potential of that unfold in real time is just like amazing. Like it's such a cool time to be alive and such an awesome thing to be a part of.
I totally agree. It was actually, I just have so much respect for anyone that just comes into this industry and just looks at it with that lens that's a little bit more than entertainment. Like even I think the guys at, Gorilla Tag, like it's no secret to them. I've got a nephew's nephew, who at 13 years old started playing Gorilla Tag and like went through a whole summer and himself lost like 40 pounds beating the ground and jumping up trees all day. And it's like, yeah, this is the new gym class, is monkeying around in VR. This is kind of a big deal. But like beyond just like entertainment for regular consumers, I was super interested in how do we take that skill and like even put it into making games that you hope no one ever has to play. Because after Supernatural, one of the things I did was I worked in healthcare for a couple of years. This company called Penumbra was building a VR system that could actually help stroke patients and accident victims and quadriplegics like go through rehab, but do it with all this magic of like Disney-like animation, with all these people literally from Disney and Pixar and Telltale making these experiences in VR for rehab centers to help people like, learn how to pick up a spoon and eat cereal again, or learn how to just get their hands on the wheel of a car and get themselves to rehab again. Like it was, that kind of stuff is just, it's so magical. And like, even though like to do that for a couple of years, it's still so young. Like the stuff is still in its infancy. We're still just realizing like, this isn't necessarily just a gaming machine. And that's one thing to say, but also, gaming isn't necessarily just empty calories when it's produced with, a force for good. So I've always had my heart in that. So.
That's lovely.
Cool. The first thing I ever did in VR professionally was with VR healthcare.
Oh yeah?
What'd you do?
Yeah, I teamed up with this company called VR Health, who made they made stuff for rehab. Right, to help people move and to be able to kind of measure progress in their during the recovery to a point where like where insurance companies could see the progress, the doctors could see the progress. It was a really cool product, and so I started actually with my IT company kind of selling that on the side and demoing that on the side. I was like really trying to figure out at the time, how am I going to get into VR, and I thought that was super cool stuff. So yeah, that's interesting. I think there's so much potential in healthcare with VR and education and gaming and like literally everything. So it's there's so many places this can all go.
Yeah.
I'd also, sorry, I mean, go ahead.
Okay, well, no, I think you should.
I was just going to say, like, as someone, I've always been a longtime public advocate just for, awareness and openness of, mental health situations, and especially depression, anxiety, ADHD. And I would actually give a really huge shout out to Trip. I've been a long time user of Trip. I know Nanea very well. We're friends. Seen that product grow for years and years and years, and I use it myself. Like I go to therapy, and I'm on medication and was just trying to like help with my own issues. And the more I talk about it, using Trip, in combination with just like regular meditations or just a regular cadence to calm down, like it's absolutely just so useful and so magical. And I think anyone, if they're looking to get into regular meditation or looking for ways to help with their anxiety, help breathe again, help get out of a depressive slump, help motivate, just help learn to communicate and meditate, check out Trip. Like that has been such an incredible project that's evolved quite a bit over the last couple of years. It now has an AI meditation coach where you can literally talk to a mic, and this magical sparkle of light will process with a GPT and build a meditation for you and speak it back in a synthesized voice of Nanea, who talks to you during your meditations. And it gets really like, it's so out of this world and so like deeply personal and just so next level that like, it's not, Trip isn't really a game. It's coming into treatment centers online across the world right now. So, and that's stuff you can download in your Quest right now, and you have been able to since Quest 1.
Dude, the most vulnerable I have ever felt in VR was doing Sound Self while it was still like a VR project. Like that game, that experience had me moaning out loud through the halls of my townhouse, like I'm so glad no one was home. Like I can't imagine ever doing Sound Self with somebody home, because they would hear you in the other room and they're like, you're like it's all about breath work, and like honestly it's about like mantra, like you're like doing mantra, and I appreciate how you said like, hey, it can help you meditate, it can help you do these things, because at the end of the day you are still doing the thing, but it's a tool to like help facilitate that. Like you're still going to be doing the work, you still have to focus and all of that, but there are tools out there, like a VR game isn't going to meditate for you. I think people think you put a headset on and then bam, you're hallucinating. It's like not quite like that, but it can assist you get into that place where you are kind of like letting go of the monkey mind, the gears that are constantly turning, and you're becoming more present. But
you mentioned Sound Self, something I worked on years ago, but I would also say in that sort of like tonal stimulating your vagus nerve is what it's all about. If you haven't played it, maybe you guys have talked about it. You can't play Sound Self on a Quest right now. It's now privatized. But very similarly, if you haven't played Zengeance, have you heard of Zengeance?
No.
Oh my gosh. Actually. So Zengeance is meditative pistol whip that's built to help alleviate your anxiety, and you can charge up your shots by doing that toning, by stimulating your vagus nerve.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, check out Zengeance. Those guys really put something special together to drop this summer in kind of a lull. But if you're into meditation and toning and action gaming, they've bridged that really well in a really interesting way, and I think it's what they're FDA cleared to potentially get that prescribed to people who are struggling with anxiety.
Wow.
Prescribed.
That's wild.
You get prescribed to a VR game.
Oh, yeah.
That's sick.
Here's your medicine.
I love it.
Is the big thing. Prescription gaming. It doesn't even have to be VR, but prescription immersive therapeutics and digital medicine is, those are the two sort of fastest rising sort of sectors that a lot of people in healthcare and gaming are coming together to try to crack those codes. How many times you go to a doctor and they're like, yeah, you really just need to exercise and meditate. And it's like, exercise, huh? Well, if he's telling you to go to the gym, great. You can expense or write off or get your insurance to cover your gym membership. You can also do that now. People are getting that covered for Supernatural, for Starwave, for Beat Saber, for things that are instigating cardio. There's options here for anything that's keeping you active in entertainment to be, considered a health benefit that you can help even get covered. So
wow, this is awesome, and I'm really excited to kind of unpack some of like these philosophies that you've managed to incorporate into Starwave. But before we do that, I do want to learn a little bit more about you. Because about you, the guy, Job Stauffer, the man who's been in the gaming industry for 20 years. Who, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not a developer, are you?
I mean, yeah, no, you're wrong.
You're writing code. You're in there.
I mean, you don't have to write code to be a developer.
That's what I mean.
Developers Yeah, like what you're saying is you're not an engineer, and that is the one thing I'm not. I'm not an engineer.
I appreciate the correction though. Yes, I appreciate the correction. I guess the point I wanted to make here is that, like, I always assumed that to be a developer, you needed to be the person who writes code. And like our path,
oh my god,
our path, like we've managed to find a way to leverage social media to enter into the space as non-engineers. You know, we like, hey, let's make videos, let's get ourselves out there, let's find a reason to be in the room, and then we'll find opportunities. And that's kind of how we did that. But I can't imagine not being an engineer and finding a path into the video games industry 20 years ago. Like
that. So exactly what you just said is something I've said a million times, because I always, when I was a wee little kid, I'll go as quickly as I can here. When I was a wee little kid, I wanted to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle president of Nintendo, both a Ninja Turtle and the president of Nintendo.
Awesome. I love it.
A little bit of a hard, difficult thing to figure out. But I also love filmmaking and storytelling, and I, went straight to art school in New York City for filmmaking and storytelling. I kind of was like, I can't do code. I'm going to focus on storytelling. But it was really right around 2001, landing at art school, literally first week I get there is 9/11, by the way, which was insane. It's a whole other story. But that also had us inside a lot, playing video games. And one of the games that we were playing the most was GTA 3. And playing GTA 3, everything that I'd ever thought about, I can't be a game developer because I don't know how to write code, was thrown out the door. Because here was this team that was really taking cinematic filmmaking and storytelling into game development in a way that was in my language. So, like, everything from Film School 101, oh, okay, yeah, this shot close, this, oh yeah, like we really have the tools now to tell cinematic stories in immersive spaces and in games where they need writers, they need producers, they need storytellers. And that was really where I was like, oh, okay, like I can be a game developer. And that's where literally, and then, 4 years later, my first gig straight out of art school was Rockstar. And,
wow.
Literally in 20 years, I've not written a single line of, well, I would say a single line of code, but I've designed a lot of Starwave levels now, and it's not quite code writing. It was a lot of Unreal integration and
that counts. I say that counts.
It's still not engineering and code writing, so I can't see into the matrix like some of my friends can.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's cool, and I appreciate that. It's kind of something that I've been like trying to, like, I don't know, share as often as I can on the show, just because I remember like feeling like I had so much latent potential for so long, and like almost just feeling like, I don't know, like I don't deserve to go be a part of it or something like that, or like I said, like just not being an engineer, just not understanding that there's actually a path to get involved in other ways. And it doesn't just have to be games, by the way, either, people. Like if you're into something that like you wish you could do as a career, and like it's just so much of a hobby that, or you just like don't have the skills that you're observing other people in the space having, like maybe realize what it is that you bring to the table, and then find where the opportunity is to contribute that to the thing. Because it's, you know, once you realize that it's more than developers, it's more than just like the person who you kind of see doing the thing, you just realize just how big these industries actually are and how many moving parts there are and how many people who are passionate about the thing are needed, because there's so many people who are not passionate about the thing, who are in roles that are incredibly influential as to how good the project comes out. And we need people who really care. So if you're out there really caring about something, go get involved in it. Like, that industry needs you.
It takes a village, and it's, you know, that exact same misunderstanding that developer equals engineering and coding is such a big, everyone falls into that trap of thinking, but every project, it needs, you know, there are different teams, different projects are going to need writers and artists and marketing or finance or like facilities. Like, even if you're there like helping to keep a team like fed and staffed and keeping the machine going, you are a game developer. You are helping this development process, and you are a critical part, because everyone plays their part to get this thing done. So don't let anyone ever tell you that you know, haven't earned your team t-shirt and your name in the credits, because it takes everyone's efforts and everyone's skill sets, and, you know, the best people are just the most passionate. And if you take that passion into any team or any experience, and you can go a long way, whether you can write code or not.
Amen to that, brother. And, you know, like, one thing that I think a lot of people do struggle with, it's like, you know, there's that adage of, you know, like, if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life. But then there's the other adage that is, if you do something that you love, you literally work every single day forever. Like, you are like always working, you know, it's the complete opposite. But I'm wondering, like, after 20 years in the games industry, like, have you been just like burned? Like, has your hobby or passion for any of this like really faltered? You know, if there's been times where you've fallen out and been like, man, do I really want to be in games? Like, do I even like games anymore? Like, have you ever had any spells like that?
I mean, it kind of falls back to that between reality situation, just on that threshold of dimensions, right? Like, literally so much of the work was literally making like some of the most financially successful franchise in interactive entertainment, period. And then multiply that, like, it's like, okay, just Minecraft and this and all these things, and it's like, it's two-dimensional. And that's where you're focusing all your efforts. But you cross that threshold from flat into immersive, and it's an entirely different space. So if anything, I would say that I really got a little, I wouldn't say jaded, but like, I felt very blessed and proud, you know, that like I got to do all that cool stuff in 2 dimensions, and just hard to go back. It's hard to say, yeah, you know what, I want to do a mobile game or this. Like, it's really hard to kind of think about that space when that door's, you can't close that door.
Yeah.
Really hard to close that door and like put that passion back in here. So it's less jaded or defeated, but like, you know, the other thing too is like, I'm talking about all these like cool things, but like 20 years along the way, it's not like everything's a massive success. Like, you have to also fail. It's a balance of all those things of like, these are the things that didn't work out. This project, no, never saw the light of day. Probably can't tell you about like games at Rockstar that got canceled and no one ever heard about, or indie projects never got canceled. Telltale games that like never saw the light of day, or like things like that. Like, that can be really cheating. And like, if you like, oh man.
Do you want to comment on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on MetaQuest?
My comment is, even I'm still waiting. So guys,
I'm not holding my breath, Joe.
I wouldn't hold my breath either. So I don't know anything about it. I really don't.
Yeah.
So go tweet at them.
Well, yeah, that, I'm sure that will accomplish something. So it's awesome. You've like had such a really cool career, and you've been able to touch so many influential games for so many people. Like, you drop a name like Dark Souls in a description, and people are like, "What? He worked on Dark Souls?" Like, that's like a culturally relevant game in the gaming world. You know, it's really cool, and I think we're very lucky to have you in the VR space, especially with your perspective on like how powerful of a tool VR is for well-being and for like making everybody better humans and stuff. And I'm curious, like, how we shifted from Supernatural into like really being able to like take a lot of ownership now of this new project of Starwave. So like, where was the transition period there?
So I think really again, it takes a village, and this is a project that has been in development for, I would say, it was a dream of someone like almost 10 years ago. And this was like, I will say, some of the really good friends, some of the founders of OneUp.com, if you're like old school game nerds, Sam Kennedy and James Milkey, they were always interested in rhythm gaming, but always wanted to make something up in space and have it feel like you're at an EDM show, and there would be cosmic, and everything else we'll figure out later. But, years go by. And then they get to do a game called Jupiter and Mars with these dolphins, and get that out on PlayStation and Quest. And then sort of right at that threshold where I was about to go into healthcare, Sam calls me up, and he sees all this stuff I'm doing with Supernatural. He's like, hey man, I have this project, and it's like gonna be kind of a rhythm thing, but a dance thing, but it's in space, and we could really use your help. And trying to get this off the ground. And I'm like, and he shows me like a picture, like back when it was just an idea, and it had a code name at the time. And it was just like, imagine like that scene in WALL-E, where Wally's like touching stars and going off into space and dancing with Eve. And what if like we could capture that magic and do this really big experience that feels like you're at Electric Daisy Carnival at the same time? And I'm like, jaw to the floor. I'm like, this sounds like my dream game, my dream project. Just took this other gig, but here's some pointers, and let's circle back. Keep me posted. I'd love to help. So like, they kind of went off with, and that's Tigertron, and they went off with another great partner called SkyMap Games, who's kind of one of those developers that's like brilliant engineers, right? Like lots of engineers and people that do a lot of work behind the scenes, getting stuff like Mario Kart Live Circuit up and different games that, are from partnered with different studios to help creatives build things, like creatives coming together with engineers and making games. That's developers. So we went off and worked at it for a little bit, and I went off in healthcare for a little bit, and right at this nicely timed intersection, circle back with Sam, like, hey, how's everything going with the project? He's like, perfect timing. We just stopped everything, and we haven't moved a muscle in like a month. Can you help? And I'm like, yes. So like, kicks like an early demo build to myself and my partner Robin, and we play this early tech demo, and we're like jaw to the floor in what we're seeing visually, and it's like, oh my gosh, like we're hooked. And he's like, can you guys help design this thing? Can you help make this flow? Can you help this really be something where people can get in and like really burn some calories and some cardio and just do what you guys do all day? And I'm like, sure. So that was kind of how my partner Robin and I came in to help lead design and innovation and really make it flow and build all these levels and really build this whole experience together. And it's been a lot of people focused on trying to get this thing that was like the germ of an idea and evolve it into something that was innovative. And, we didn't want to put something out that was a Beat Saber clone or a Supernatural clone or a Synth Riders clone. We wanted to do something that was like, okay, let's look at the calendar here, because it's 2024. Beat Saber dropped in 2018. Synth Riders 1819. Audio Trip around that same time. Supernatural 2020. So like 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 24. It's like 7 years of like these sort of key touch points in this genre. It's like really time to innovate and do something that feels fresh. Like we love this stuff. We play it all the time. We played it for years. And we just really wanted to do something that sort of straddled that line between like, okay, super high sensory Beat Saber Synth Riders, but also like sticky and integrate this into your fitness routine, all the Supernatural Fit XR, something to do every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And here's how it's going to work. And we're going to totally raise your points. And the key thing here was really sort of the paradigm of what we've been doing in really based flow experiences, Beat Saber, Supernatural. It's been, the design has been very effectively every designer and every choreographer is a marionette puppeteer, right? And you are the marionette puppet, and they're pulling your strings, telling you to go up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. And that's a convention that hasn't really been challenged in years. And what we knew we wanted to do with Starwave was totally break the user free and challenge them to find their own flow state, to say, okay, no more black and white, no more left and right. It's all you. And that other difference with Beat Saber is, you're cutting a hot knife through butter with every block. It's so much fun to shred, but you're shredding. And you pop that through the block and it's gone. And then it's the next one and it's gone. Supernatural, same thing. Pop the balloon and it's gone. We wanted to do that. We wanted to carry momentum forward. So as you're flowing through space, also you're flying through space at the speed of light, if you haven't played it. So as you're flying forward, you're also knocking these stars off into the sky, into this fireworks show, but every drive is driving your flow forward. So you actually have this mind-body connection to your movement, and you're carrying momentum forward. So kind of tying these things together and saying, okay, we've not experienced this yet in this genre of how do we do this? How do we also incorporate a little bit of mining into it? We have these asteroids where you're flying around. You see these asteroids, every couple of asteroids, you might find like a Starwave crystal, which is going to pay off very soon. Our community's curious to know what
I was
they do.
going to ask.
It's a closely held secret, and we're stay tuned to our Facebook page and our community page on what you could potentially win by finding those. We just wanted to sort of challenge these conventions and say, it's been a few years. We love this stuff. Here's a new feeling. And we want to put you in your own flow state and give you agency in this genre that you've not really had yet. Synth writers will let you groove from any direction, but it's not really impact driven, and we love it. But we really just want to find that sweet spot. We call it the cosmic sweet spot when we're developing, is how do we find something that can sort of feel a little bit familiar but fresh for 2024 and 5 for all corners of really the ring, and not that you even have to be a fan of this stuff already. People who are entirely fresh to this genre or fresh to VR at all. We have people coming in our community now who've never even played VR, and they just got their 3S and they're like, yeah, I just got this and this is awesome. It's literally the first game they've ever played in VR. It was a lot of challenging criteria that we wanted to meet, for new people, for accomplished sort of storied veterans of all these sort of sides of the genre. How do we wow them? How do we dazzle them? And how do we give them agency? And how do we give them this addictive, euphoric sense of momentum that they're going to want to come back to and experience this joy every day? And credit to, I will also say, really kind of that last sort of phase of development where we're ready to start getting feedback. Told you that back when I was Supernatural, I ended up spinning to 1,000,000 points and just being like, well, it's just going to be a matter of time before more people do this. I'm the first crazy person. It's just going to wait till these other crazy people come in the door and I can meet my people.
Yeah.
I did that. But I also did that knowing that someday I'm going to have another project and I'm going to need 100 experts on this stuff that do this more than anyone else in the world. So the door was open to them and a lot of folks from the Beat Saber and Synth Riders community this summer for a really awesome beta group that we ran. And we had just the absolute smartest, most seasoned, proof positive, have done this stuff more than anyone in the world, testers to help us really fine tune it into something that thus far has, gratefully just surpassed our wildest expectations in its reception, both on user reviews and uploads loved it. And, when I've gotten a lot of reviews for stuff, but when someone just says pure joy, that's it. That's literally what we're going for, is that feeling every day. And that was the best thing anyone could have ever said, from a media outlet, was we were so thrilled to hear that. It's that's that distillation that we're going for. We just want this to feel good and help you feel good every day.
Hell yeah, dude. Congrats, man. That's so great to hear. And like, you know, I've played Starwave, and like, to me, it really does feel like the culmination of all of these rhythm games that we've all loved over the years. Like, I see elements of every single game you've talked about in Starwave. I see elements of Beat Saber, I see elements of Supernatural, I see elements of Audica, I see elements of Audio Trip, I see elements of Synth Riders. Like, they are all there. Like, all of those mechanics connect, and like, you're moving between them. So there's like, you know, you start the song by kind of like striking the stars, and by the way, I love the fact that when you hit them, they go launching off into the horizon and then blow up, because all of the visuals in the other games are kind of like it's like a map or a movie that you're like watching as you're participating in it. It's timed well. It's almost like a light show at a concert, so to speak. But in Starwave, like, you are responsible for the show that's happening in the sky. Like, you're the one making it happen, and like, I'm like smacking all these things, and they're all just boom, 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 blowing up off in the distance, and really, really awesome visual there.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but yeah, it's the combination of all of those mechanics together. Like, it really feels like all of those games kind of wrapped into one.
Thank you. That means a lot. It's interesting you say that. Some people, we still get people that ask, like, oh, do you need mappers? And it's a little tricky because we don't really consider ourselves mappers. It's more level design and level designers, because we're not just plotting where these things are coming in. We're also designing asteroids. We're also literally every planet and every visual that you see as they come in, we're also designing all of these. So it's not just like a punch these in and, you know, AI tools are going to start automating. Like, no, like, there's a whole craft to building these lush, rich worlds, and we want them to all feel different and feel fresh and feel like their own little worlds and levels, really. So, and yes, and leave that to the user to really be that final piece of the puzzle to paint the sky themselves and really drive that experience. And it's synesthesia too. James Milkey, our art director, he actually worked with Tetsuya Mizuguchi on projects like Child of Eden and Luminous. If you ever play Rez, that's Tetsuya Mizuguchi.
Oh, yeah.
They drive a long philosophy I've been adored for years of it's all synesthesia. Take us to synesthesia. Your brain, your eyes, your body, all of these things need to have a blur between all the senses. You know, and, you know, they've been wanting that for years. And like, back to the PS2 era, they launched Rise on Dreamcast and PS2 with like vibration tools to try to like help synesthesize, you know, the experience for people looking at a flat TV. And, you know, VR is really the space for ideas like that to really come together, where your body is feeling what you're seeing and you're hearing what you're feeling. And it's pretty much everything short of smell-o-vision in VR. Well, yeah, I know it exists, but we don't offer it. You know, we want to really give you a next level extrasensory experience with it.
Didn't they say space smells like Dr. Pepper or something like that?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
There's like, I feel like I've heard like someone has like looked into what space smells like, and there's like a thing that they compare it to. I can't remember what it is right now. If anybody in the chat knows what I'm talking about.
I think Red/Ace is in the chat, and he designs smell-o-vision for VR.
Yeah, haptic solutions. Yep. Yeah, shout out smell-o-vision. What's the product? The Cilia? Is that what it's called?
The Cilia.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah, and I love the celestial theming too. Like, I feel lucky to be alive during a time that we identify with celestial imagery. Because there was thousands and thousands and thousands of years of human beings who all of their celestial imagery were twinkling little dots in the sky. And like, since the invention of telescopes and things like that like give us an actual look at these things, we now know like where we are in the universe. And like, I have the solar system tattooed on my chest, because like, to me, like, I live in the solar system, like, that's home, you know what I mean? Like, I'm on Earth, but it's also a part of this. And like, the fact that I can identify with like the rings of Saturn is just like incredible to me, you know?
That was one of the things that we loved was, you know, it's a universally understood language-free, border-free concept as the heavens and stars and space. You know, we all look up to the same things out here, and it really, you know, it kind of has that. They say, you know, that the blue the blue marble effect. I forget
the pale blue dot.
It's called pale blue dot, but like the effect when astronauts go up and then they actually see the Earth and then they realize, oh my God, we're all here together. Oh my God, why do we fight wars? Why do we have borders? We're all here, literally in the middle of nothingness. It changes your perspective, and you know, when we're all down on the earth doing this thing that is really an ancient primal instinct to humans, is to get up and move and dance to music, and looking up to the heavens and doing so, it's the kind of thing that helps inspire community and helps inspire that deeply seated human drive to feel that joy. And, you know, it was you know, Supernatural's got Earth covered. You know, have beautiful shots all over the world. Let's take you on a voyage somewhere you've never been, and let's get really creative with it, and let's take you to exotic places, and let's open the imagination. You know, we have most of our constellations are all imaginary. You know, because everything that even we know of our constellations and our records for years and years and years, hundreds of years, centuries, and millennia.
Before TV, that was TV for people. They'd be like laying out at night and looking up and be like, dude, do you see that guy? He's shooting an arrow over at that other guy. And oh my God, he is crossing across the sky. Like, they looked at the stars so often that they realized some of those dots actually were moving. And they were like, how? That must be a god. They're like, that's a god right there. And that's Mars. Amazing.
Yeah, so it is deeply embedded in our primordial DNA, is this imaginary fascination with the heavens.
You know what else we need to do in VR then? Is the campfire. I feel like the campfire is that other like deeply primordial thing where we're all sitting around a campfire singing, chanting, talking, communicating, laughing. Like there's been like I don't know, I've like watched people like tripping on different drugs on the internet and stuff, and like they like were tripping really hard and got into a conversation about a campfire, and it was resonating so deeply with me. I'm like, oh my God, you're right.
I have to chime in and say, you know, and this is a personal share that I don't think Robin, who's my co-designer, co-lead on this, who can't be here, but she's watching, and she says hi.
Hi,
believing in the power of connection in VR. We met during COVID. You know, we met through the Supernatural community and through VR, and we started playing games together. I was in California, she was up here in Portland, and you know, the first time that we ever really danced together in an embodied space was actually around a campfire, and that was in big screen VR.
Nice.
I was doing a lot of R&D and looking at stuff, and we were like journeying around, like checking out stuff we've never tried, and hop into big screen and hop into this campfire scene with a big TV screen in front of you. Then all of a sudden they're playing songs, and like, oh, they're playing a song from Supernatural. Oh, it's Dua Lipa. Oh, what's that? And then we're listening to it, and then next thing you know, we're just like dancing and grooving around a VR campfire, and it's like, what could be more human than this? But also, when was there a time in the world where you could like find this deeply spiritual connection and bond with a human in this way from thousands of miles apart, and have that visual language and that communication of your movement, and distill everything from like the feeling of a first date or being a human and worrying about what you look like or what am I going to wear and what is this? It's like you get to distill all of that and just get down to your core of the vibrational being of love and light that's inside of us all. Hey, hippie from Marin County. You know, and connect. And VR offers that. And, you know, those campfire experiences and those opportunities to really be human together are so understated in this industry, and they're out there for you to find them. But having experienced that with someone who I've literally fell in love with in VR, dancing across the stars, it's powerful stuff. So definitely vibe with that.
That's so beautiful. Skiba, this has to be resonating with you.
Oh, dude, for sure. I just want to say Robin saying hi back in the chat. What's up, Robin? Wish you were here. Oh, for sure, man.
Robin, did you find the cat?
Oh, yeah.
We just adopted a kitten on Saturday who's 4 months old, a little tortie, and we settled on a name, and we knew it had to be celestial of some sort. So our new baby kitten, Astra, has joined our family this weekend and is raising hell all over the lab. So we're really happy about her. She's really cute. So
yeah, there's literally nothing better than a new kitten in your life. That is the best thing ever. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Did you have a thought you wanted to bring to that conversation?
Oh, I don't know. I experienced this a lot, and I've been around that campfire and big screen so many times, and had so many good conversations, and just really bonded with people over that same campfire in big screen. And it's amazing, and it blows me away all the time that I am able to put this thing on my face that has like some lights inside of it, and really like continue to hone in the relationships I have with friends. You know, I have some of my best friends in my life I see a couple times a year in real life, but I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like I see them all the time. I see like an embodiment of them. I hear them. We go on adventures together. We do things together, and the relationships, they keep getting stronger, and like you just feel like this, you know, these people are like there with you and you're connecting with them. So it's like it's an amazing thing, and VR continues to break boundaries of space and time for me all the time. And I wish there were more people that, you know, that could put on a headset for the first time and see the whole picture, that it's not just gaming. But there are so many different ways to connect with your fellow man and just make life better and more enjoyable.
Dude, like I said earlier, like I feel like I have now met MickeyBerr after attending being in a virtual reality app together. And like the fact that like we're able to like, we have to have a discussion about the qualitative quality of the meeting. You know, like how much did I meet you? Did I meet you 90%, 100%? Like, because it's not 100, you know, because 100 would be meeting you face to face, shaking your actual meat bag hand, you know? Like,
so what you're saying right there, think about it in two ways. Because it's like in VR, it's like, okay, you think about, well, did I really meet you? Because I haven't seen you in person yet, and I don't know how much you like, you know, are, you know, uncomfortable or like have physically like itching your butt or whatever. Like, oh man, you have these like weird things about you. Like, but like when you're in real meat space, you got to ask yourself the same question, because if you're physically with someone face to face, are you seeing the real them? You know, and this meat bag is also in a lot of ways can be a mask. So there's that, like I said, that inner light, that inner person. You can meet someone and connect with someone on such a deeper level by taking that mask off and having that inner self come out, that person that's can get a little stuck within. And it's such an incredible tool. And and you just said like playing with friends. We have family that tomorrow, actually for Thanksgiving, our plans are to play VR games with, you know, Robin's mom and our aunt. You know, we play Demio all the time, and Dungeons of Eternity we do like all the time, and that's how we connect. That's how we bond. That's how we play. And you know, it's really just this amazing platform for togetherness that we're really grateful for.
And when you put it like that, like the old philosophical question of like, are we our body? It's like it kind of becomes like wait a second, that's a pretty compelling argument against it. You know what I mean?
You are not your body. I would interject to say, I mean, you've got a meat pilot inside, right? And that thing is driving this vessel, and this is a part of you. But really, it's like Men in Black. You know, Men in Black, like the face comes off, and there's that little alien inside that's like piloting it. Like you have to think about like your inner self, like your being that is driving this pilot. That this is the pilot driving this meat bag. And I think philosophically, having gone through a really profound social connection, lots of them in VR, that point is driven home, at least to me, from my perspective, that what's on the outside is, you know, you got to take care of your vessel. But what is on the inside and what's driving it, like there's more to you than what you see, and most of you is within.
I couldn't
agree more.
Do you believe in death?
Oh gosh, man, where did we just turn here? Personally, yeah, I believe in death. Death is definitely that release from that physical body, and that plane of existence. And death brings a lot for yourself and for others around you. It could bring a lot of grief, but it's definitely a very real thing.
Yeah.
But that energy inside, that's energy that has to go somewhere, and where it goes. I think if anyone had the actual answer, I don't know yet. But I don't think our energy just disappears.
Yeah, energy is neither created nor destroyed. So
there you go.
It has to go somewhere.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I love the fact that we can start talking about a VR game and end talking about the deep philosophical nature of our existence. I say this all the time, but I really believe that the R and VR and AR is not to be taken lightly. Like, we are talking about reality when we are talking about VR, and we are talking about the perception of reality. Like a VR headset is a sensory perception organ hijacking machine. It hijacks your eyeballs and tells you something else is happening. It hijacks your ears and tells you something else is happening. And as that gets more and more and more profound, the ability for people to question the nature of the reality, I think, is only going to increase exponentially. I think there's a lot of people out there who don't really think philosophically. Maybe they've never had a philosophical thought in their entire life, and that's okay. It's not to say that that's a wrong way of living. Frankly, it's almost like a curse if you think about the nature of reality a little too much, because it can send you down all kinds of weird paths and spirals.
Oh yeah.
But that all this to say that that to me really is the ultimate potential of the technology, is like a tool for awakening. Like, you put the headset on and you become self-aware, and you wake up and you realize that you're not just your body, and that there's so much more going on, and you start having philosophical thoughts. And I can see this being used as a tool in the same way that martial arts practice or hallucinogenic experience is used to get people to that next plane of understanding of what life is all about. And the fact that we can do that by putting a device on our heads is kind of amazing to me.
I couldn't agree more, man. I am right there with you. I know Robin's right there with you, and we could go for hours and hours and hours talking about this stuff, and totally agree. And I'm really glad that you open yourselves up to these kinds of conversations and to your audience. It's, some people come into VR and they're like, yeah, I want to play Batman. Let's go, bro. All right, cool. Let's go watch, we're done. And it's really, though, VR is it's a medium, and there are different experiences that can offer these different paths to these different ways of thinking and this personal enlightenment of self-reflection. And it's hard, it's difficult to say go do this and you'll get it.
Right.
But the more that you're experiencing VR, especially with other humans, and you're able to, I think, especially slow down into the social situations and have a safe space for, this is a heavy word to use, but I would say social intimacy or personal intimacy, not in a sexual way.
I use the word intimacy all the time. I think it's completely appropriate to use the word intimacy there, 100%. I use that word all the time. It
is a very intimate experience. Actually, one of the first things I told the team at Supernatural was a real breakthrough. Was the most brilliant thing that I thought Supernatural had going for it was the breakthrough in that voice in your ear, and that offering of positivity and affirmation, and just having that voice in your shoulder was a level of intimacy that so many people don't have in their lives, and then don't have, as a coach, at the gym or wherever. They have that voice of someone is literally in their head. And that's also the kind of thing that you got to be careful with, because, if it can be used for an incredible force for good to help people change their lives, it can also be an incredible force for not good and manipulation. You've got to be, your brain and your consciousness is in an incredibly vulnerable state with these tools in hand. And creating safe spaces for people to learn and grow and thrive and connect with each other with that level of vulnerability and that intimacy is super, super powerful, but also there's a level of responsibility that needs to be taken.
Dude, amen to that. Like, I'm snapping my fingers. That yes. And here's something really, really cool from chat. Camp DTS is in the chat right now and says, aside from an emergency trip to the hospital last year, I haven't left my home in almost 10 years for anything. For anything. VR has brought a whole new world back to me that I never thought I would get back. Like, wow, that is amazing. You know, like I'm not going to ask like anything about like how you've managed to find yourself in a situation like this, but I'm so grateful to hear that you've been able to use VR as a way to explore and like access new realities literally and not feel like you're confined to the house anymore. I'm sure that's been amazing. Let us know in the chat like what some of the most impactful VR applications that you've used are, because I'm really curious as to how you prefer to spend your time in VR being in a situation like that. And thank you for sharing, Camp DTS. That's really appreciated.
Yeah,
very cool.
It is very cool. Man, Job, this has been so great. Like I said earlier, I thought you would be the quintessential Between Realities guest, and I'm happy to say that you've delivered. I really love it when we're able to just like peel away enough layers of the onion to get to some of this stuff, you know what I mean? And I'm so happy that you have this intention with your contributions to the space, because I see so much potential for good for this, and it's also fun and cool and dope, and there's like good music and like you're getting in shape. But yeah, there's so many good reasons to check out Starwave. Links are in the description below to the store and to the website.
Black Friday sale right now. Use that code.
Use the code Black Friday sale. This is definitely the opportunity, and I think this is the kind of initiative that we really should all be supporting. You know, like VR for good, intentional VR, safe spaces for our vulnerable consciousnesses when we plunge ourselves into these virtual experiences. So thank you so much. Before we wrap it up, Job, I just want to bounce the ball into your court one more time. Anything that is important about the project that we didn't touch on, or that you really wanted to mention?
Just absolute gratitude to, again, it takes a village. So everyone at Tigertron, everyone at SkyMap, everyone at Epidemic Sound, Robin, who's watching, you know, everyone, and especially our community. Like, just you know, we've got a really passionate Facebook community. If you want to join us there too. We've got a Discord server as well. Hop on. But you know, we just gratitude to everyone, and thank you all around. Thank you, Sweaty Nugget JJ in the chat. Hi. And just for everyone for watching and tuning in, and thanks to you guys. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for opening the floor to us, and we really appreciate it. And we all, on behalf of all of us, just if you're this weekend, this Thanksgiving, be safe, be happy, be healthy, be merry, play some VR, and see you in the stars.
Job, this has like legitimately, just to bring it full circle again, this has been like such an awesome thing to be able to connect with you like this. It has been a long time since we sat and chatted, and I often think back on my VRLA experience, and you were a big part of that, dude. So like I almost look at you as like almost like a foundational part of my experience getting into this. And so to be able to have you on my podcast that I started years later, and you're talking about the game you're launching years later, all of this is just so cool for me. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story and getting intimate with us for a minute. Really appreciate you. Best of luck with Starwave. We are in your corner, and if you need anything else, you know how to get a hold of us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Job Stauffer, ladies and gentlemen. Starwave, thank you. We'll see you later. Goodbye. Say goodbye, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye. And he's gone, and just like that, another episode of Between Realities is in the books.
Wow. It's crazy. Like you said last week, you're like, man, I feel like I left and turned around and came right back. That's how I felt again this week. Dude. And I'm really hurting this week from just being completely exhausted from work and life, and like So sorry if I was extra quiet this episode. It's been tough, but oh my god, man, this was a great episode. You know, sometimes I sit here and I'm like, wow, this is a great show, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I'm actually on this.
Dude, I love it, and you know, like that's all good. You know, like that's the beautiful thing about Between Realities is that we can come on here, we can be ourselves. You know, if you're just chilling and vibing tonight, like I'm into that. You know what I mean? Like it's great. You're still pushing buttons. I don't have to think about like what scene we're on or anything like that, so don't worry. You're still very essential to
I don't think I hit any of the wrong buttons.
Not this time.
Woohoo.
And I even hit the air horn when I intended to, which is really, really cool.
Oh no, that's right, you did. Usually we get the crickets.
We do. Well, you know, I would love for Skiva to fill us in on what our plans are. Oh, next week we're not even going to be here, dog.
No, we're not, man. We're going to be over at the XR Awards in Rotterdam, Netherlands. So yeah, there will be no episode next week, but we will return the week after that with a surprise guest.
It's a big surprise.
Dun, dun, dun.
Really big surprise. Like we're all gonna be surprised. All of us.
That's gonna be great, though.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
So again, shout out to the audio listeners out there, or the non-live chat crew. I know a lot of people have to catch this show not live, and they wish that they could. And if that's you, we feel you. And
we appreciate you just as much.
Seriously, like thank you for listening after the fact. You know, because for me, it's hard to catch shows that aren't live. Just to be transparent, you know, I love watching live shows, but that's like the majority of my podcast watching is live. So the fact that there's people out there who like definitely make sure to watch the replays and stuff, that really does mean a lot. And of course audio listeners too. So shout out. I wish you could have seen the squiggle jar. It's pretty dope. Maybe cruise on over to YouTube and tune in for this episode so you can see that, because it's pretty sweet.
The thing is pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm kind of wondering, Mr. Taz, where mine's at.
Yeah, what's up, that Mr. Taz? Let's go. So anyway, that's that. Thanks, though, however, of course, to the live crew who has tuned in. We've had a really good chat going today, and I appreciate everybody who's been making contributions in there. MickeyBerr and Chromosnare, Arlen, Amelia Faust, Inferno 9, Camp DTS, Sweaty Nug Nug, JJ, Techno Glitch, of course, Robin, watching from the Starwave side of things. Lynn has been in the chat. Good to see you there, Lynn. Mr. Tass, of course. And everybody else, and all of you.
Heck yeah. And MickeyBerr is saying, enjoy your trip. Got any room in your luggage? Mickey, you are always welcome in my carry-on, bro. Come on over.
Come on, MickeyBerr. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up. That's that. Thanks again for watching the Between Realities podcast, and we will see you in 2 weeks after the VR Awards, which, by the way, you should tune into because I'm hosting it. You know, you want to see your boy doing his thing with a microphone on the stage. Bam.
And a tuxedo. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm going to be looking good. And then after that, my wife and I are going to Paris to go to Disneyland. I mean, we're going to also do the Louvre and everything, but Disneyland. So
pretty sick, man.
Going down.
I can't wait to hang out with you in the Netherlands again.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. We used to do these on Fridays. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.